Shit, had Paul seen them? At the top of the stairs, Annie noticed the open door to the master bedroom and braced for a confrontation with Paul. But the room was empty. The bed on his side was mussed, pajamas thrown on the bedspread. Annie headed back downstairs and opened the door to the garage. Paul's silver Elantra was gone. On the rear seat of her own Camry, she found her panties and stuffed them in her pocket. Back in the kitchen, Annie rooted through a cabinet for a bottle of Advil. She washed down 2 tablets with a full glass of Sauvignon Blanc, poured another half glass, and sat at the table. The empty Zinfandel bottle stared back at her across the table. The label was an artsy painting of a vineyard. Screw cap, $9.95. Annie remembered the clerk in the supermarket wine department. 30-ish, kind of cute, with that unshaved, not quite a beard thing guys were doing these days. She had smiled, found herself flirting, asking about the tannin-to-alcohol balance or some shit she'd read online. He looked into her eyes and wasn't fooled. He reached to the lower shelves for one of the value bottles. Annie dialed Paul's cell. It rang 3 times before his voicemail clicked in. There was her husband's deep, earnest voice.
"Hi, this is Paul. Sorry I missed your call. Leave me a message and—"
She clicked off. She found the number for Jennifer Steele on her phone and tapped it. The time was 8:45 a.m., busiest time of day for a principal. Steele picked up on the second ring, talking over the noise of a crowded hallway. "Hey, Annie. Thanks for calling back. Yeah, got your message. Sorry about that. It's okay. We found a sub. Remember Penny Freeze? Taught 7th grade history before her first kid? Good, good. Glad it worked out. Part of the job. Is Paul okay? I'm sure he's fine." Annie took a deep breath and tried to think how to start. The thing is, I'm working second shift these days and get home late. Sometimes we don't see each other for days. I didn't talk to him before he left this morning." As the words came out, Annie realized she was explaining it not to the principal, but to herself. "No problem, Annie, really." Steele's voice sounded impatient to end the call. "If he could just let me know how long he'll be gone and where he left his lesson book." The buzz from the Sauvignon Blanc kicked in after she hung up. Annie refilled her glass and carried it to the living room. She opened the curtains to look out on the backyard. If Paul isn't at work, where the fuck is he? She thought of her father-in-law, recovering from chemo and staying with Paul's sister. She clicked on the number. "Hey, Beth, it's Annie. This too early?" "Yeah, right. No, honey, we've been up since 4. Sorry to bother you, but is Paul there? We missed each other this morning, and he didn't show up at school, just trying to track him down." "Nope, not here. My experience is, and you probably know this too, the guy's driving somewhere. Mr. Careful never picks up while he's driving, even on Bluetooth. Try again in a few minutes. Tell the jerk to come by tonight for dinner. Dad wants a word. I'm making burgers." Annie hung up and tried Paul's number again. This time she heard the phone's ringtone coming across the room, from her husband's briefcase lying beside the recliner. She crouched next to it and clicked open the latches. Paul's phone lay atop a pile of student assignments. She turned it off and stared at it. He never went anywhere without his phone. Beneath the student assignments lay her husband's lesson plan. How could he teach the day's classes without his plan? Under the lesson plan was a sealed manila envelope with no address. She felt something inside the envelope and tore it open. Out fell a thin, multicolored friendship bracelet, the kind teenage girls tie around their wrists. Attached to one end of the bracelet was a tiny red plastic heart. She shook the envelope, but it was empty. No note, no letter. Annie dug deeper through the briefcase, not knowing what she was looking for. At the bottom, she found a photo. As she picked it up, she froze. She held it away from her body like an object arrived from another world. Without thinking, she crushed the photo, squeezing so hard her fingernails cut her palm. Then she shoved it into the pocket of the scrubs and pushed down until her fingers